Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode in the El Emergente series. My name is Mariana Marcano, and together with Dominic McCarthy, are part of the Australian Latin Emerging Leaders Dialogue. Our organization seeks to strengthen Australia and Latin American relations through the next generations of young leaders.
Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Yanela Piñera, principal artist of Queensland Ballet. Yanela was born in Havana, Cuba. At 8 years old, she began training at the Havana National Ballet School. She performed at the Center School of Ballet in London and the Dance Festival of Cordoba in Mexico. Yanela then joined the National Ballet of Cuba in 2004, and after 5 years with the company, was promoted to principal dancer. She joined Queensland Ballet here in Australia in 2015 and is currently a principal artist with the company. And her repertoire highlights include Theme and Variations in Balanchine, Odile and Odette in Swan Lake, Kitri in Don Quixote, Giselle and the Queen of the Willis in Giselle, and Juliet in Macmillan's Romeo and Juliet, as well as Aura in Sleeping Beauty and Jerome Robbins in The Night and Greg Horseman's La Bayadère.
Yanela has several professional accolades, including a gold medal at the International Ballet Comp in Havana in 2000, a silver medal at the International Ballet Competition in Varna, Bulgaria in 2004, and a gold medal and Best Artist Award in 2004 in the International Ballet Competition, Havana.
Thank you, Yanela, for your time and for being part of this interview. We're really excited and grateful to be hearing from you. And so, growing up in Cuba, you began ballet at 8 years of age. Do you remember what those beginning years were like and what inspired you to dance and what keeps motivating you to continue to dance throughout the years?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I started ballet when I was little. And before I did the audition at the age of 8 to go into the National Ballet School in Havana, I did a few dance classes since I was 4. I think as a Cuban and as a Latin, we have the music and the dance in our blood. It's something like we grew up with that since we were very little. And in Cuba, in particular, people play music on the street. Like we grew up with that environment where dance and music are very combined. And since you're little at the school, like you play an instrument or you dance during your break times and things like that. So I think that's one of the reasons I started going to ballet class. But then once I started, I like the way the movement and the way I was improvising movement and things with the music. And in Havana in particular, we are very lucky that every 2 years, the National Ballet of Cuba organizes an international ballet festival. And so many amazing, well-known companies around the world go to Havana to perform at the festival. And I think that was one of the most inspiring things I had since I started at the ballet school, watching those amazing superstars at the time and watching companies live. And we had the privilege to have them going to our country. People like we watch videos and then you see them live and you see them taking classes and rehearsals. I think that was one of the main reasons, to be surrounded by people you admire and people you think like you want to be one of them one day. I think that was the main reason. Really, really inspiring for me since I was little.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you, Yanela. Yes, definitely role models, right? In 2004, you joined the National Ballet of Cuba. Was it always a dream of yours to dance for the National Ballet Company? And what challenges did you face on this journey?
Yes, the National Ballet of Cuba is a company who was founded in 1948. So it was a really established ballet company, and it's one of the most prestigious companies in the country. And when you enter at the ballet school and you start your studies in ballet, you always look up to the dancers you have in your country. Especially, we have such a strong ballet school, such strong company. And I remember since I was 12, 13, I started to go into the performances. And I had a lot of ballerinas that I admired, a lot of ballerinas I look up, and they were my idols. So you work really hard because you want to join that company one day. And that was one of my dreams when I was little. I really wanted to join the company, first because of my country, and second because it was a company well-known, recognized around the world, who had so many amazing dancers around the world, like always representing the country. And yeah, that was one of my dreams, to be part of the company one day.
That's great. And you danced in Mexico and London as well. Did you always envisage yourself going further abroad for your career? What attracted you to come to Australia and join Queensland Ballet?
Yes, I went to Mexico for a ballet festival. I was still at the school. I was 17 years old. And I went there as a collaboration between schools, and I performed there. And then I went to London as part of an invitation of the Central School of Ballet director in London. And after that, I went to the International Ballet Competition in Varna, Bulgaria, which is one of the most recognized and international competitions nowadays. So the year I went to the competition, it was the 40th edition of the competition. So it was a competition who was established in the 60s, and where so many dancers all around the world, they've been part of that competition for many years, and it was a big event celebrating the 40th anniversary of the competition. And as a young dancer and still at school, for me, I was so honored to be representing my country in those stages. And I was that young that now I look back and I say, wow, I had that privilege that with 16 years old, I was already dancing and representing my country. So that was a great experience, and it's been always one of the best experience I had as a student, as a ballet student.
How did you end up coming to Australia? What attracted you to come to Queensland Ballet?
Well, the artistic director of Queensland Ballet, Lisu and Shin, he went to Cuba in 2014, and he visited the company over there, and he watched class and rehearsals. He taught at the ballet school, and then he saw me rehearsing Sleeping Beauty at that time. He was in one of the studio, and I was rehearsing. And a couple of weeks later, he contacted me because he wanted me to join Queensland Ballet. And I thought, well, I thought in the beginning, oh, that's far, but I always wanted to visit Australia. Actually, before he went to Cuba, we had a tour with the National Ballet of Cuba to Australia, to Brisbane, especially Brisbane. So when he offered a contract to me to join the company, he was describing Brisbane as a beautiful city, as a beautiful place, all the repertoire the company was going to do. But I already knew Brisbane because I was here 5 years before that. And I said to him, I know Brisbane, I know Australia, and I love that country, and yes, I will join the company. So my husband and I, we came together and we joined Queensland Ballet in 2015.
Australia and Cuba share a love for ballet. So what do you think both countries can learn from each other to continue developing their dance training offerings and opportunities for young people?
Yeah, I think Australia and Cuba, they have a lot of common. Australia is big. A lot of people love arts, Brisbane, especially the city where I live, is a multicultural city. There is people from so many places around the world who bring all that culture into the country. And as Cuban and as Latin, we have that dance and music for us as part of our life. Even though I'm a dancer, is my career, my professional career, but we very musical people. We love to dance. We love to go out to dance salsa, to teach people how our movements and how to dance so many different type of dancing. And I think Australia and Cuba can learn a lot from each other. In my point of view as a classical dancer, as a ballerina, the way we move and the way our style is very particular. Every time you go to a ballet company in the world and you see people on stage, and if there is a Cuban, you will recognize, oh, that's a Cuban. Like the way we move, the way we were trained, you can recognize that everywhere you go. And I think Australia can learn from that. And also we learn a specific, here, for example, at the ballet school, they have Vaganova style, which is from Russia, all of that. So I've been learning so many things. Like I can learn here, they paying attention to a few things, a few details. Like for us, our dance is more rich, like it's more complete. And both cultures, like I think they can be together, like learning from each other and sharing experiences and type of dance and different styles.
Latin America and Australia, as you mentioned, we have a lot of cultural links, and often we're a lot closer than people realize, even though geographically we're quite far. So how do you think dance, and in particular ballet, is something that we can use to bring our two countries together and have deeper links? You've already talked about how when you're in Cuba, your company toured Australia. How do you think dance and ballet can be used to bring our two regions closer together?
Yeah, I think arts in general, but especially dance. I think with big collaboration would be great. Like I did when I was in Cuba. Like we toured a lot, and one of the places was Australia. I remember it was part of a festival. It was called Havana Festival, and a group of people brought from Cuba. The ballet company, the National Ballet of Cuba, they brought a live band, and they brought the contemporary company. It was a full Latin Cuban night where people could go to the ballet, and then after the ballet, they join a party with live Cuban music. And then the next day, they had the opportunity to watch the contemporary Cuban company as well. And I think people still remember that tour from the Cubans. Like I still meet people nowadays, and they said, "Oh, you came with the National Ballet of Cuba with the Cubans that year, like 7 or maybe more, 10 years ago." People still remember that, and that's what it's all about. That people remember that moment. That when, as a dancer, I love to make people happy when I dance, and for them, the time they spend at the theater, it have to be unforgettable for them. And that exchange and that moment they experience, it have to be the best in their life. So I think that's very important, especially touring and collaborative. People will always remember that, and they will say, "Oh yes, I remember 10, 15, 20 years ago. Oh yeah, when the National Ballet of Cuba was here. Oh, that was amazing." And they remember as a very, very happy and unforgettable night. And I think that's very, very special.
What is the highlight of your most proud achievement of your professional dance career thus far? And what do you see yourself doing in the future, Yanela? Do you have other career aspirations?
One of the highlights in the last 10 years, because I can say one highlight my whole career so far, because that's hard. But I think a couple of years ago, there was a woman here in Australia, and she had this brilliant and very generous idea to bring my mom and my sister all the way from Cuba to watch one performance, my last performance of Swan Lake with Queensland Ballet. And it's been always the most special and the most unique moment, because not just for me, also for my family. It was a surprise. She didn't tell me, and she just wanted to my family to have this experience being here and watching me dance outside of my country, because they've been always very supportive to me, but always when I'm back home. And that night, it's a night I will never forget ever in my life. And my mom and my sister were watching me. I didn't know. So when I finished the show, Lee Sun-Chin, the director of the company, he said on stage that my mom and sister were watching, and that was very special. Very special. And you know, to have having your family and sharing that moment with them, it was very special. And I think for my future, I would love to stay in the ballet world. I think I would love to teach new generation. I would love to be a coach in a ballet company, so I can, teach new generation and use all my knowledge and everything I have learned from many different peoples in my life and my career. So to share with them my experience and I think, I would love to be a teacher in the future.
It's very, very touching to hear about your story of your family coming to watch you. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, that's all our questions. So thank you so much, Yanela, for sharing your story from Cuba to Australia. It's been a pleasure and very inspiring to hear about your journey.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Yes.
Thank you very much. And to everyone who's watching, stay tuned for more series and episodes coming up in our Emergente series, where we interview people from across Australia and Latin America. Thank you very much, and goodbye.